It's funny because at the beginning of the month you release Gods Go First, okay, which is one of
Mhm.
the singles of this album. And checking on
Mhm.
commentaries on internet, on YouTube, um, one of the guys who comment about it, it says, okay, this all already had the 80s vibe, some AOR influences that the band always had. And it's funny because
Mhm.
before you mentioned, oh, people expect for us to play melodic death metal. So, how much percentage of truth is on that commentary that you want to include some 80s vibe on at least that single?
Well, I think there's some truth in that because the music from that era, like AR stuff and a little bit like rougher and harder stuff, are really the ones that like we like to listen. Not only, of course, the
Yeah.
variety of music we listen is like really vast, but I think he's onto something because I think it's been happening like not with Grey Heavens so much our previous album, but before like in Beyond, for example, there was this same kind of vibe, and we wanted to recreate it because it's also and like we like to honor those great bands and great musicians from that time period to include our like modern melodic death metal style with a little bit of spices of like AOR melodies and big epic stuff, and kind of like the like sound wise a bit to that direction, but with of course like we have to remember that this is not the 1980s, this is like 2018, so we have to keep that in mind, of course. But it's kind of like an honoring thing. We like that kind of music, listen from time to time, so we like to include it in our music also. Like as I said, like spices here and there. Of course, it's still death metal.
Yeah, great. And you have 11 songs on this album, okay? And the good
Mhm.
thing about it is, at least for me, when you hear the album, it goes so fast, and especially it's very cohesive in the sense that it seems like every song is connected between each other, like a concept
Mhm.
album, something like that. Okay, so was that your idea when you were writing and thinking about these songs? Because normally albums has like two or three catchy songs and a lot of fillers, but this album seems like every song is connected between each other.
Well, that's a tricky one because at first we we didn't think that we would make that kind of album that connects from song to song, but it kind of just happened.
Right.
Like Marcus said in one interview that these songs kind of wrote themselves.
Right.
So I think there is a connection, but I think it was like 40% intentional and 60% of like this is just the way it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that because we didn't have the idea to make like a concept album. It just happened that there is like connection between the songs. Of course, when we start to realize that this is going to be like this, then it started to go into that direction like naturally.
Right.
But
And
but but there was no like master plan behind the original.
yeah.
Maybe the master plan came as we went on, like like thinking about in what sequence and in what like what is what song comes after another or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe then it was like in action, but at first no, not at all.
Of course. And now that you mentioned Marcus, actually he on most of the sites is mentioned as a main songwriter for the band. So I want
Yes.
to ask you if this is true. I mean, how do you do it? How do you collaborate with him, or he writes all the stuff?
Well, I think me and Marcus, I write all the lyrics and the lyrical themes and come up with the ideas that what like lyrically what's the album about, and we draw inspiration from each other. I listen to like new demos of new riffs that he we want to create for a new album. So it's mutual, not like symbiosis, but like a mutual understanding of like what kind of direction we want to take with with each song or each album. So, and I think it's really fruitful uh, collaboration because
Right.
in a positive way we kind of like feed each other ideas and stuff like that, and it has been working really well, like for the last eight 8 years.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, lyrics, it seems like at least most of the album revolves around some dark subjects, are tragedies, human tragedies, emotions, right? Do you think that
Yes.
now in 2018 that the world is so fucked up, you have so much inspiration from everywhere to write those lyrics?
Well, I don't think that world is so fucked up. I think it seems so because there's a lot of like good things that have been happening also.
Yeah,
So, but I think that I think the tendency for people, whether or not they are like positive or negative in a way, I think they are more aggressive in their positivity and more aggressive in their negativity. So I'm really talking about like what's behind those emotions and what's behind those tragedies. I think that people have the potential to take it either way.
yeah,
But I think like this turbulence that is happening in the world right now, it intensifies
yes,
these feelings that we feel, and it's like uh, how would I describe it? It's like when you, for example, when you drink too much too fast.
yeah,
Like if you have like hard liquor, like tequila or something, I don't know,
yeah,
and you drink it too fast, and then you just like nothing happens, and then half an hour later
yeah,
or an hour later, you're totally fucked up.
yeah,
The transformation is so fast. This fast thing is one of those things I also consider on the album. That people don't realize that things are changing so fast that it's really hard to keep up. So they get confused, and then there's a tendency to be more aggressive.
yeah, totally. And for this album, The Burning Coal, you work again with Dan Swano. So I just want to ask
Yes.
you, do you think that he's one of those producers or those people who work with those sound engineers that you can recognize on an album? Imagine another band besides Omnium Gatherum that he works with. Do you hear one of those
Hmm.
albums and you say, okay, that's Dan Swano?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that
Yeah,
last one.
if you have, for example, if you listen to another band besides Omnium Gatherum and you listen to the album, could you say, okay, that's Dan Swano working on that album?
Yes, yes. Well, I think there is a uniqueness to his way of making sound. Of course, it differs with different bands because every band has their unique sound also.
Yeah,
But I think that from little things, especially when I've like witnessed his like process of working and stuff like that throughout the years, like 10 years now. So I can like recognize things from here and there that could be like this. If I didn't know that Dan Swano was made it, I could like recognize from two or three little things that this could be Dan Swano's work. But I think it's also a good side, like a good thing for for a guy who mixes a lot of albums to be recognizable, but also to be able to make that kind of a like sound that is so universal that it's really hard to say that it's a good quality, but you can't really say that who
who's
individual made
behind
that.
this?
And I think Dan is really good with that. He has his unique style, but he also can make that kind of album that it's really hard to say that who's made it. And I think that creates
Yeah,
variety to his like know-how.
totally. And you not only repeat with Dan Swano, but the guy who create your artwork, Ollie, I think he's been with you
Hmm.
since day one, since it's the first demo. So
Yes.
you are a very loyal band. It means that maybe you have already found the team who works perfectly with you, or you are just maybe afraid to try something different. I don't know.
Well, sometimes we wonder that thing also, and are we too stuck with these guys to make? But I think that every time we push the music forward, they also push their like things forward because only like he also has a lot of ideas and things. When he listens to our music, he like gets rich with ideas. And represents us so amazing art that we just are like why would we go and search for something that is already here? With only it's kind of that. It's more complicated with the sound than it's with the visuals. At least for my opinion, because sound-wise we have been so happy with Dance Mano, but we have been really talking about sometimes that should we change
Yeah,
uh, the guy who mixes the next album. Maybe the next album I can't really say now because now we have to concentrate on this album. But with Olli, it's the cooperation has always been so like fruitful.
yeah,
There has been no need to change that, and also with Dan, there's been no need to change it yet. But I think if something's gonna change, I think first it's the thing that goes directly with the music. For example, the guy who makes the sounds, and
yeah.
then we think about the visuals after that. Because the
Right,
music comes first and the visuals come after that.
great. Well, I want to ask you another thing. Going back to that concert, Malaga, and on that tour that you made with Amon Amart, okay?
Hmm.
Uh, when you think of Omnium Gatherum, you don't think about the kind of music that Amon Amart do. But my colleagues who were with me at the concert, they didn't knew anything about Omnium Gatherum. They went there for Amon Amart, and when the concert was over, they were automatically fans of Omnium Gatherum. So I was thinking
Oh, nice.
maybe if you put together two metal bands, but not precisely doing the same sound or the same music, it could be good for both of them because they can in some
Yes,
other ways change fans. So do you think that it's
yeah.
good for metal for fans to have these kind of tours where you put three bands together that they don't have anything to do with each other, or do you prefer more thematic tours like three bands touring which they do melodic death metal, something like that?
Well, both. I think like both ways are good. It depends. I think that you cannot put like at least in Europe you cannot put like bands that are totally different from each other to
Yeah,
a same lineup. That can create some problems. That it divides some people who want to come to the shows. In America, it's a bit different. They're more like susceptible to the different kinds of lineups. I don't know why that is, but it's just the way it is over there. But I think with Amon Amarth, it's also like melodic death metal, but more like a Viking
exactly.
stuff. And I think our music is really different, but there is similarities in some melodies and in in some bigger picture. There is like a little bit of similarities. So I think like that tour with Amon Amarth and Dark Tranquility work really well. So bands were different. The three bands were like totally different, but still inside the same like bigger genre feel.
Yeah,
So it wasn't like black metal, doom metal, and avant-garde metal, but it
yeah,
was like melodic death metal, more like Viking style, melodic death metal, more like Dark Tranquilities, like a little bit weirder style, and then melodic death metal with like Omnium Gatherum, which is like just a little bit progressive here and there, but with big melodies also. So I think that was a really successful combination of different kinds of band inside a bigger genre.
yeah.
But if I think about like we've been touring, for example, with Nile
Yeah,
from States like many years ago. I think that was a bit too far away.
from your side.
Yes, I would think so. That it was there was Nile and there was Belfagor
Yeah,
and a couple of other bands, and I think that we were kind of like we were so melodic compared to them. So it was a good tour, but still I think it was a bit too different, maybe.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, yes, I know what you mean. Well, just to finish the interview, with a band releases a new album, they always hope that that album takes them to a higher level, to bigger things. And I've been noticing that in the last years, you were getting better places in festivals, better tours, bigger venues, right? But are you that kind of band that tries to reach a higher level with a new release, or you just put it there and see what happens?
Well, I think with this again, it's kind of like both because of course if you want to do this like with your whole heart and like really professionally, then you have to assume and hope that it grows.
Yeah,
But we're not 20 years old anymore, so we don't have those kinds of like like unrealistic hopes
yeah,
or dreams about things. But because we like to things to get better, but we're so used to working in this metal scene. We've been touring for over 10 years with this band, and so we have like I would say like honest dreams about things going further.
yeah.
I think that would be a good like description for it because
Great.
we know how the scene is like. There are ex-metal people are excellent, and if we can deliver them something new and something fresh, and grow our fan base with this, I think then everybody is happy.
Good.
And this is we do this for the love of the music,
Yeah,
and of course people who want to see us, they also love the whole atmosphere that comes from a death metal concert. So everybody is satisfied.
great.